My video for March the 23rd, 2019 is video number 3033. The title is Shifting the Paradigm is Very Complicated. The current paradigm might rightly be called a model of deception. As humans, we have become accustomed to being lied to about nearly everything. As a kid, I was taught about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. Of course, those are fairy tales. One might say that was an innocent mistake, since many children seem to like make-believe stories that trigger their imagination. One day, however, the child realizes that these stories were fake. There was no actual man who lived at the North Pole and came down once a year, sliding down the chimney and leaving gifts under the Christmas tree. Neither did some mystical rabbit leave candy in a basket for the kids. Perhaps the idea that God is love and wants to elevate humanity is also a fairy tale. I know some who have reached just such a conclusion. I battle with that myself. We have grown up on a planet where it becomes obvious that much of what we have been taught is laced with lies. It's no longer innocent. It's very diabolical. The storytellers have become very adept at fibbing. It's no longer just an innocent story. For many, it is awakening to a very harsh reality. There is no Santa Claus, no Easter Bunny, and perhaps no loving God that wants the best for his creation. The world is a merciless planet, and shifting the reality from greed and lust for control is a most complicated yet needed process if we are ever to become truthful and loving. What preempted my decision to talk about this is I live in an apartment complex, and on each floor there's a bulletin board, and it's decorated based on the season. At Christmas time, of course, there were Christmas decorations and stuff on the bulletin board. Very well done. And then Valentine's Day, it was all about love, and there were hearts and things like that. And of course, St. Patrick's Day, there was the clover and the green and the leprechauns and things like that. And now the newest one is Easter. And every season, there's a new holiday and new decorations on the bulletin board. And not every floor does that. It's generally one person on each floor that decorates the bulletin board. It's something that it's not on all floors, but it's on some of the floors in the apartment complex here. Anyway, folks, I have been scratching my head myself, wondering when the promised changes are going to happen. Is there a paradigm shift that's occurring? Some emphatically say, certainly there is. People are waking up all over. And I believe that there's some truth to that. People are realizing that much of what we've been told is, as I said, laced with lies. Not only laced with lies, in some cases, the lies dominate the whole narrative. And we are left wondering, what the heck is going on? Why are we facing such a dilemma when the laws that are being passed by the, quote, leaders seem to many of us like pure insanity? I mean, what the heck are they trying to do? The controls are tightening and tightening so that there's less and less freedom and more fear mongering, because that's really what it is. We have to fear the police. We have to fear the government. We have to fear our leaders, because our leaders do not have our best interest at heart. Now, that's not 100% true. Nothing is 100% true, nor 100% false. The corollary is just as relevant as the former, that it's all mixed with lies. It's all deception. The whole monetary system is deception. If you don't believe me, think about what fiat currency is. I know I've said that many times, but think about it. It's numbers printed on paper, backed by nothing of value. At least there was a time when silver and gold and precious metals and things that had tangible value were backing the financial system. Well, that has totally ended as of the presidency of Richard Nixon. Tricky Dick, as he was known. It's all lies, folks. It's all a big masquerade. And of course, that would be the Halloween decorations on the bulletin board. It's a masquerade. People masquerading as our leaders, but they are not. They are some of the most despicable beings on the planet. They do horrific things to the most innocent among us. That is, our very children are brought into the world, not only being taught about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. That's relatively harmless by comparison, but they are abused sexually. They are abused physically. And the spiritual abuse is unimaginable. And if reincarnation is true, and I tend to think it is, when these children come back the next time around, what remnants of the nastiness are left for them to be distorted? And everything on the planet seems to be a distortion. Certainly, there doesn't seem to be a living and loving God, a God that actually cares and takes action. But then it would be complicated to overturn the current system peacefully. The dilemma, the impasse. How do you bring positive change to a world that has been steeped in negativity? How do you do that? That's the challenge that Creator would face, assuming the Creator is loving at all. I still want to believe there is a loving God, a loving Creator. I'd still want to believe that I have a relationship with Him. There's been times in my life I was absolutely certain of it. And there are times that I'm absolutely scratching my head and wondering if I just imagined those good times in the past, when I thought God and I were actually on the same wavelength. Now, as I look at the world, I realize that there aren't a whole lot of people who are on the wavelength of benevolence. Most have succumbed to the struggle just to survive economically. And that's a fake struggle, because it's been artificially created and it's artificially kept going and perpetuated. When is there going to be change, not that we can believe in, but change that we can experience? Will we ever be able to know the truth? Will we ever be able to actually love one another as is commanded and set apart in all religions? You answer the question. Thanks for listening, and namaste.